You are listening to the Savage FINcast Retro, episode 24, Deadly Duo 1 through 3.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the dragon.
This is the Savage FINcast Retro, the show that deep fakes its orgasms. I'm Raven Perez.
I'm Jim Purcell.
I'm Craig Olson.
And on the Savage FINcast Retro, we talk about all things Eric Larson, Savage Dragon, from the past. Talking about things that have, in the bygone. You know, it's the 30-year anniversary of Savage Dragon. We might be talking about shit that happened in the first year. You don't know.
But, I'm sure they do, seeing as we do this chronologically.
But we got a really awesome show for you, my dear listeners. Jim, tell them what's on the docket.
Well, it's that time again. We are heading into miniseries territory. We're getting into that really interesting period of Savage Dragon where there's going to be quite a few spin-offs and miniseries kicking off. I think between like 2004 and 1994 and like 1998, there's like a whole bunch of things we're going to have to get to as they come along. And this episode, we're going to be talking about the Deadly Duo miniseries that ran for 3 issues back in November of 1994, I think.
Woo.
Yeah, November.
Yep, 94. November 94. Yep.
I was a freshman in high school.
So, did any of you read this when it originally came out?
I did not.
No.
Right. All right.
I read it in 99, maybe.
So you did read it in the past. Raven, have you read this before?
I read it in the past hour.
Okay. Well, same with me. I read it for the first time this afternoon.
Yeah.
So, like what we talked about when we did the Freak Force issue where Kill Cat first appears.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of assumptions I had about the Deadly Duo for a long time, simply because I had not read that issue and this series.
Same.
Like, I just kind of assumed they were always a duo. I thought they were a pair. I did not realize we were going to get origin stories. Or that, to be honest, that these are the origin stories. I knew Kid Avenger was from the future, but I didn't realize we got some details about it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's what's so funny is I agree. I was kind of like, I thought that we were just in for some adventures. This is very much their origins.
I forgot that Kill Cat appeared first in Freak Force without Kid Avenger. And when I read this, I was like, oh yeah, like this Deadly Duo 1 is Kid Avenger's first appearance.
And neither of them, well, Kill Cat in particular, has not appeared. Wait, has Kill Cat appeared in Savage Dragon yet?
No.
94? No.
No, that hasn't happened yet. So Kill Cat is a Savage Dragon spin-off character that hasn't actually appeared in Savage Dragon yet. So that's actually kind of interesting to me.
Savage Dragon 27 is his first appearance.
Oh, that's a ways off still.
Yeah, he's just lurking in Deadly Duo and Freak Force.
Yeah, now, we have already read the issue of Freak Force where he appeared, though, did we not?
Yes, that was a previous episode, yes.
Yeah, he appears in 15, too, so that's, I think, before issue 27 of Savage Dragon, or maybe right around.
So he'll have a few more at least one more appearance in Freak Force.
So Kill Cat's first appearance was Freak Force, then, was it not?
Yes.
Okay,
but
just checking.
But I should have actually asked Eric about this, but I'm pretty sure Kill Cat and Kid Avenger are 2 of those characters he created when he was a kid. And
the origin is in these issues, friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the back
page. Created him with the buddy.
Right, but see that was the thing, because I knew Eric had created them as a child. I always assumed they were a duo already, and then I guess creating this origin story was his way of just putting them together.
Mm-hmm.
No, what do you mean putting them together?
As a team, in the modern day.
Oh yeah, in the modern day, because it was him and his buddy Aaron Katz. He says in the back, and they both drew.
I probably should have read the back matter. It would have probably answered all of my questions.
Yeah.
Yes, it actually would have. You even get to see a drawing of Killcat and Kid Avenger by the guy that co-created them.
I see.
Aaron Katz, and it's in issue 3, and dude, it's awesome.
Well, and he says that Aaron Katz still has comics of the Deadly Duo. You know, his burnt down the fire with all
that's
this
more
other stuff. But
that's more than what Eric has.
Yeah, so they still survive.
It's cool that, like, what's funny too is, like, he talks about, like, Aaron's version of Killcat was, like, dashing and competent.
Right.
And just the bumbling buffoon that we know was just what Eric decided to do once he...
It is. I wanted to mention this later, but this would be a good point now. It's weird because Killcat kind of comes across as competent in the Freak Force issue and at the start of this series. And it's like as soon as Kid Avenger shows up, now Killcat is a bumbling oaf. Which does play into certain events that happen in Savage Dragon in the future with the pair of them.
Yeah,
it really does. It really does come down to the fact that Kid Avenger is really a fuck up, and I think, and I think that just kind of bleeds over into Killcat now that he's here.
What's funny
Go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say with Deadly Duo, I feel like as you read each issue, Killcat and Kid Avenger, like Eric kind of finds his voice with them and like how he wants them. Like you can see one is not as like goofy over the top. By the time you get to issue 3, it's just, you know, constant jokes and bumbling around and stuff like that, and it turns into more of what we know as the Killcat and Kid Avenger. And I'm wondering if he was just trying to find that feel, you know, if maybe he was thinking with issue 1, am I going too far with this or whatever. But it seems like by the time we get to issue 3, it feels like the guys we know nowadays.
Right.
I agree.
And that's who you definitely will see going forward.
I agree. There's definitely an element of goofiness for sure in that first issue, but they're really the characters we know by the 3rd issue.
Right. And I was surprised by that because I hadn't read this in a while, so this reread was, you know, long overdue. And I was like, after I read the first issue, I was like, this isn't as funny as I remember. And then, like, you know, the second issue is still kind of weird. Like, it just seemed like nothing happened. And then the 3rd issue was like, oh, all right, this is what I remember. And, you know, the second series is really over the top, too, if I remember.
Ooh, good. I mean, that's kind of what got me, dude. You know, you sometimes you bite into food and it's just got some weird spice or seasoning in it, and you're like, oh no. And it's not that it's bad, it's that it betrayed your expectations. That's exactly what this was. Is when I went into this, I was like, ooh, it's gonna be a hoot. And it's not. It's played like much more straight for a lot longer than I would have expected. And that's kind of why I'm a little colder on these than I thought I would be.
What other comics are kind of like in this vein? Would you say like Lobo?
Lobo's a lot more crass than this.
Lobo's much more over the top.
Well, I'm just thinking like over the top, silly, but yet they exist in like a normal superhero universe. You know what I mean?
Kind of like Ambush Bug. Maybe.
Even Ambush Bug is more like self-aware parody. Ambush Bug was doing what Deadpool does now, like in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What about
all that fourth wall breaking? There's none of that in here. I'm trying to think like what's.
I never read Guy Gardner, but is that kind of like
Guy Gardner
character?
would probably be, especially in the 90s. Guy Gardner was probably this sort of book where your main character is kind of a scumbag. And he knows it.
Isn't like Booster Gold kind of like Kid Avenger or something too?
Well, I wanted to bring this up because I wasn't sure how to do it because it's weird. Killcat and Kid Avenger were created by Eric and his friend when they were kids, but they have very similar similarities to the Booster Gold and Blue Beetle duo in a lot of ways, especially because Booster Gold is also from the future, who came from the future. That's what I thought. Booster Gold's whole thing is that he came to the future to become famous. Is that he stole a bunch of high-tech stuff, came back to the 80s to become a superhero because he wanted to be famous. Kid Avenger, of course, is different, got a different origin than that, but he is a time traveler. And Killcat does have powers where Blue Beetle is more of a regular person with, like, Batman-esque. But the kind of comedy duo, regular guy, superpowered guy, one from the future, one from the present, Giffen had been doing that kind of thing since the 80s in the Justice League. So it's more coincidence that the similarities are, but I do think there is a similarity, and close enough similarity that I would say, like, Booster Gold in particular is kind of like that sort of like goofy comedy character in a superhero universe.
Right.
Because he's kind of a goofball. He's always kind of a goofball because he's very self-serving, or at least he is at the start before he becomes more heroic. That's sort of his arc, because he comes back to the past to become a hero and then eventually learns to become a hero. Whereas these two bumbling fools do kind of the opposite.
That's a really good observation, man. I hadn't even thought about that, but you're right. Kind of tropey in that way.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I've actually known of Kid Avenger and Killcat, I've kind of made the Booster Gold, Blue Beetle connection in my head, but I always kind of kept it on the down low because I don't like pointing stuff like that out.
It's not. I'm sure Eric doesn't give a fuck. You know, I'm during the daily reread. I'm doing the. I'm in the Savage world right now as this is recorded.
Sure.
And good Lord, sometimes.
So, wait, for the listeners, just explain that a little bit, because if someone's listening to this out of time or not,
correct. So, Savage Dragon is in eras. As you over the 30 years, you come to find out, like, there's definitely some distinct periods you can point to, and in Savage Dragon, it hits a point where the entire continuity shifts, and it basically becomes heavily Jack Kirby influenced. Not just Jack Kirby, heavily Commandy influenced.
Yeah,
right.
And so what I'm saying is that, like, dude, I don't think Eric has any kind of, like, reservations, pointing out, yep, that's Commandy. Or when he put the Sienkiewicz bear, the demon bear from X-Force, in that recent issue of Savage Dragon. And everybody's like, wow, that looks just like... And he's like, yep, that's exactly what it is. And it's like, I don't think he would have cared if you were like, Killcat and Kid Avenger definitely got some gold.
Killcat just as Batman, obviously, and he even says it, kind of in one of the letters, like, oh, who do you think Killcat's kind of modeled after? So,
well, there's even a joke in the issue where he's like, Killcat, I thought you were Batman.
Right. That is a good little last panel gag.
Yeah. So, it's good stuff, dude. And also, too, I never saw... You know how they make the Shadowhawk joke in Savage Dragon where, like, Killcat's all knocked out in the hospital, and they're like, Shadowhawk needs help. Shadowhawk. I never saw it until I read this miniseries. And good Lord, I see it.
Well, yeah, I mean, Shadowhawk always had, like, a Batman thing going on, too. I mean, that's kind of...
I'm just saying the way this artist draws Killcat is much more Shadowhawk than the way Eric draws Killcat.
Well, even Killcat and Freak Force, it's kind of cool. It's very, like, Batman. Like Andy Smith draws Killcat with long, pointy ears, but Killcat and Freak Force had, like, the more, like, nubby ears that... old school Batman had.
Speaking of the artist, we should probably talk about the artist. Are either of you guys familiar with Andy Smith?
Yeah.
No, but he looks like he learned to draw from Brutes and Babes.
Well,
he's like Bart Sears influenced.
So, yes. So, he, I primarily know Andy Smith from a run of comics he did at CrossGen in the early 2000s called The First. He was originally inking Bart Sears for, like, the first year of that title. And then later on, he would become the series artist up to its conclusion, I think.
He also did Quasar. I remember that.
He did a Quasar run. Yeah, he's done other things. I think he was on Exo-Man of War. I think he might have started that series. Let me double check that. I got it up. No, he was on it later. Yeah, but he did draw Exo-Man of War. He is. You can tell by reading this issue. He's very much good at drawing the body tone.
It's Bart Sears, dude.
Yeah,
When I said Brutes and Babes, I'm referring to that Wizard, like, how to draw article, Brutes and Babes, that Bart Sears did. And it's like, holy Toledo. Like, these are Bart Sears' bodies and faces through and through, dude.
Yeah.
I'm only mostly familiar with Bart Sears through his cross-gen work as well. And yes, they are. That is definitely his thing and Andy Smith's thing. And I think my biggest disappointment of the series is how it's mostly dudes and not enough babes. Because he's
too much brutes, not enough babes.
Yeah, because you see him draw Dart here in this first issue, and that's what I would say he's really good at.
Can I bum you guys out a little bit?
Bum us out, dude.
Or a lot?
Okay.
He's a comic skate artist.
I'm sure he is.
There you go.
Nuts.
It's funny, as Larson's got a few in his few of those skeletons rattling around in the closet.
I think one of them inks Freak Force. It's not an ideal situation.
Oh, Mark Miller did the infamous Red Horizon miniseries.
Yeah. What's funny is that's a consistent theme of things being generally not good. Because I would say that I don't like this. Like, Bart Sears is good, but I don't love the art on this. I think it's a little.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I was about to interject, but go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say stiff. It's just stiff as hell.
It's very clean, but it is also very generic, I guess.
Very generic. And again, like, I guess this brings up the point that I've never seen Bart Sears, his background abilities. But there's just so many pages where the poor colorist just has to slap a gradient.
Oh, yeah.
Someone made a comment too in the letters about that, the lack of backgrounds.
Lack of backgrounds.
Yeah, dude. Sometimes the backgrounds are just gone, and the thing is you really notice when it hurts the read, because there's a point when like a villain is attacking Killcat, and he's just sort of like, kind of like running away, or like he dodges a punch. No way. He's running away from the big guy with bolts, and the next thing he's in a factory, and it's like, now how the fuck? There's no sense of space. Like, there's no... It's like 1 minute they're in an alley, the next minute they're in a factory, and it makes no sense.
I think this is good.
I think the idea was he was in an alley near a factory, and they punched through the wall.
Pitiful, though. There's not more... Sequential art is a sequence. There needed to be a sequence.
I think, this time period in the 90s, it's just, all these image guys, just young kind of kids that really aren't, they're still kind of learning.
Right.
I mean, the one thing I will say is this looks a lot better than any of the extreme Liefeld clone guys. Like, I'd much rather have someone from this school, from, the Bart Sears school, than another Liefeld or McFarlane clone, and we'll see that in the next Deadly Duo series. I feel like the art does not hold up in that series at all compared to this.
Which series?
Deadly Duo Volume 2.
Oh, Volume 2.
John Cleary.
Yeah.
Who had the infamous pinup with like the a million bullet shells.
I like that pinup, so I'm probably going to like it.
It's like McFarlane on steroids.
When I look at this picture that he did of Dung in issue 2.
I was going to bring that up. I don't think Low Blow has ever looked this cut before.
Here's the thing. Listen, I love Bart Sears. All right, I don't think Bart Sears has this problem, but like, you got to know how to not draw every goddamn character on the page turbo jacked.
Yeah.
How is Dung jacked through his metal suit?
Yeah, he's supposed to be a fat slob.
Yeah. Yes, dude. It's insane.
And some of these poses. I think that's Bloop. Is that Bloop? I forget if that's Bloop.
It's like a shard guy, shrapnel.
No, there's Shard and Bloop are both.
Oh wait, Bloop over the what the fuck is Bloop doing? What is that pose?
He's gyrating his hips.
Sachet.
But
the Annihilators are back.
We should probably mention that I didn't know about this. I did not realize this because I had never read this before. Way back when Barbaric scrambled that teleporter, I did not realize these guys ever came back, which I guess they had to have because I've seen Dung and Low Blow and Shard before.
Before we get too far ahead, should we get through like issue 1 and just talk about that before we jump into 2, or do you want to
you're right.
just look at it as a whole holistically?
I mean,
no, you're right.
Issue 1, we basically, it opens with a fight scene with Killcat fighting a cadre of villains. Turns out, and he gets saved by Dart, but it all turns out to be a dream.
Which I love, because Dart like is in love with him and stuff, and you're like, this is weird, and then it's like, oh yeah.
Of course it's wrong. Let me just throw out real quick before we move from this that so Eric was the writer, and whenever I see Eric just throw out names, which Morgor we know is what's so funny. Until reading this, I would have never tied Morgor to Killcat.
Right. Which one's Morgor?
Morgor's the guy who says dork and has the steel trap mouth.
The afro. I don't think he shows up in the comic. I think Eric probably liked the name and reused it.
I kind of got to see, that's the thing. All these names get dropped, and they don't get associated with any of these guys, and it's kind of annoying.
Just the Radiator guy.
One of them was called Sister Sinister, and none of these guys are women, so...
Right. And that's the thing is, I'm telling you, when there's a disconnect between writer and artist, that's when comics are at their worst. I will also say that the artist just fucking terrible character designer, because those are some
absolutely
those are some cool names, right?
Right.
The Gossip, Death Job, Laugh a Lot. Laugh a Lot should be like a clown guy.
Well, a lot of these guys sound like Batman pastiches.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. I'm sorry to keep going on about this, but it's you're 100% right. With Killcat being kind of like Batman-esque, and then you get this setup for Batman style. You could flip the page and there could be a rogues gallery here instead.
Basically, all the characters we saw in that issue of Ant could be stepped in with all these names. Yeah.
But these guys are just super fucking jacked with different heads and colored bodies.
You wonder if that's the case, though, with Andy Smith being like, why not just put these throwaway guys that take nothing to draw versus creating something really cool that I might want to use. And, this is the age of Image now. Everyone's thinking, even Andy Smith comes out with his own comic later on through Image. But, everyone's thinking, what are they going to...
Wait, does he?
How are they going to...
Oh,
yeah, I think it's
Armor
Man or something.
Armor X. I forgot about Armor X.
Something like that, yeah. First Man, or I don't know.
I don't know First Man.
I think it's First Man. I don't know. I remember seeing the ad.
Disdain. It's First Man. Yeah, I'm just basically shitting on the art. It's come on, dude.
See, I'm legitimately surprised you're so you're aggressive about it. Just because I understand where you're coming from, where it's kind of generic and boring, but it's I guess it would be in that category of serviceable for me, where it doesn't write off the entire series because it's not that bad. It's perfectly serviceable.
It's mediocre, and to me...
Oh, see, I would not go that far. I would not say it's mediocre. I would just say serviceable. It tells the story
like that,
it's trying to
in
tell.
that tone.
Yeah, in that tone. I mean, a lot of people... how do I explain this? Well, I've explained it before. I'm a writer-first guy. Mm-hmm. I do read comics for the art, but I almost always read comics for the story first. Now, to be fair, the story here is pretty thin, so it's not like a book I'd want to read for the rest of my life. But...
So you don't like the art or the story?
Well, no, but this is okay. So this is that kind of weird spot here. I am okay with the story. The story's fine. Does what it sets out to do. Art, fine. Does what it sets out to do. This is a average comic book for me. Like average.
Didn't I say mediocre?
Flat. No, because it's not below average.
Serviceable.
There's nothing here that I would call shitty. Trash. There's no garbage in here.
Didn't we just talk about those throwaway villains?
But I wouldn't call, just because they're throwaway doesn't mean they didn't serve the purpose they were intended to, which would be a dream sequence throwaway villain. They could look better.
But then you get Cement Man. How do you explain that one?
Well, he's another generic villain, yes.
What is his
Very
powers? I don't
generic.
understand.
Well-
he's Cement
Why-
Man, but he
and
stretches.
Why is he Cement Man? Yes.
Well, remember he gets his head blasted off and survives. So clearly he's made of liquid cement. Although it never comes
Why,
up
when he
until
gets blasted with water, does he not harden up?
because that's not how cement works.
You add water, mix it, and then it reacts.
I mean, he's stretchy. He makes himself larger. He does things like he's made of liquid cement.
Why
guess
isn't
what
that
I'm
how
saying is-
cement works? You add water, cement, it stiffens up.
No, it has
I
to
guess
dry,
what-
it has to dry out to stiffen up. If you add water to it, it makes it soupy. I mean, I guess if he got wet, he probably should dissolve away.
Yeah,
Well,
shouldn't
yeah,
he-
it's
exactly.
dust
Why
until you
didn't
add water. It reacts.
Yeah,
and
why didn't
hardens.
water impact him?
I presume
See,
because he's already wet, because he's
See what I mean?
alive.
It's
But
just
you wouldn't wet cement. It makes no sense.
yeah.
Otherwise, he'd be stiff, man.
So, listen,
There you
I'm
go,
sorry.
Raven.
I'm going to be
New
negative.
character.
I'm gonna be negative. I'm gonna say that, like, even with Eric writing, like here in the beginning, some of this dialogue is just a little way too workman, a little way too. It almost is like first draft dialogue that just made it in. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, Cement Man Smash. I don't like that. Run, pitiful fleas. Cement Man Smash. Run, ha ha ha. It's just like it's way too.
Oh, you know what else I found that was weird? Sorry, like now that I'm seeing this, there's one page where Kid Avenger's got like multi panels, and I don't know, I can't tell the page right. It's like 4 panels of him just talking when he like makes the phone call trying to find his relatives.
Yeah, I know
and
the very one.
he does the same thing as what's his name on Freak Force with like the shadows in the back of the panels.
Yeah, I
Victor
noticed that
Bridges.
too. I noticed that too. It has the drop shadows on the panel borders. I saw that
Victor
too.
Bridges is the only guy I know that really does that. Why is this guy copying that? It's like, as anal as Eric is about design,
Are you sure it wasn't the style of the time?
maybe it was,
It
but
wasn't.
it's just
It wasn't.
It's funny how like anal Eric seems to be about like choices in his book, and he just lets those things kind of fly. It's funny.
No, I'll say that I find this to be largely mediocre. We'll keep going because I don't want to stall out. We were kind of rolling on issue 1, but I'm just saying it's like,
I've found the First Man issue.
okay,
Goodness, I did not know what I was expecting.
it's bad,
The
right?
original Image one by
Yeah,
Andy Smith.
yeah. It's only one shot, but yes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm sure
sorry,
it's bad.
Distracted.
Yeah, no, Cement Man is unfazed by water, and
I don't know, guys. Okay, go back to the page where Kid Avenger's talking on the phone,
Yeah.
and look at the bottom panel where there's like silhouettes running in front of like buildings. That's cool, right?
well, here's the thing: is there's some like Wham, like when the yells Wham,
Yeah,
die.
the wham panel. That's awesome.
The Wham is good, but I mean the thing is I would still say that to me, it's 1.5 issues good, 1.5 issues bad. Like
Seems
for
like
instance,
it seems like your hang up has more to do with like the generic goons and a lack of style, I guess.
I'm hung up on, well, like when Craig said that Eric was finding his voice, I agree.
Right.
I feel like tonally, this is not the Deadly Duo as I've come to expect them, right?
Right.
So again, for me, I'm expecting to laugh. And like when
You're expecting slapstick.
well, no, like the thing is that goddamn it, Eric can tell a joke. Okay,
Right.
Eric's funny. Eric is a funny guy. He's written many things to make me laugh over the years. When I see Kid Avenger walking up to Cement Man and he's like, "Hey, mellow out, ma'am. Why are you so bummed, dude? Are you tripping or do you grok what I'm saying? What's up, Doc?" I'm just like,
That you don't see the out of place time traveler trying to get with the lingo.
it's terrible.
Yeah, he's like the 70s. He's into 70s.
He's
stuff,
also
and he's in
yeah.
the wrong
We
time.
learned that later that he's also out of step with the times he's in.
Right. Yeah, oh yeah. But I'm just, I
He
get
got
what's going on.
transported
I just think
20
there's a
years
better-
too late or something.
There's a better joke you can write there.
It's
just,
good.
you know.
It's a good time to mention. I love saying grok, by the way.
I think
just-
Grok has carried on.
I just feel like Eric maybe held back on making it too silly, and really, then it just makes it another superhero book that doesn't really stand out.
I would say that is a absolutely fair assessment, which is why I say it's shit. What word did I use? My brain don't work.
Serviceable.
Yes.
If we say it with the right tone, Raven.
Well, what about the I thought he was Batman line? Was that funny?
No, that's very funny.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's very
that's
funny.
the very end kind of punchline of the whole thing.
So the thing is that I thought he was Batman is funny, and the opening sequence, the dream sequence, is very funny.
The punchline on that, waking up.
Yeah, hugging the pillow.
Right.
You know, that's very funny. And then like the kind of like the idea that he tried to time travel and he just, fucking calls his ancestor and talks shit, but then's like after the fact is like, oops, hope I didn't, destroy reality or something like that. I mean, there's elements of funny here, right? I think that there's great potential here. But unfortunately, if I was editor, I would say workshop it a little bit. There's just and here's the thing is that he finds his legs to like halfway through the next issue he finds his legs, and so it's like even I think he could agree that he gets there with it. It took some feeling out, so I don't feel like I'm being extra harsh on that. I mean, we still got 2 more issues to go, and I told you I'm half on board with the second one, and I'm all in on the third one. So
I do think, like that. So like the second one that they bring the Annihilators in, because it's like Eric has a million characters. Why make up these generic ones? I know they're in Detroit, but I thought that was the right move. Because this first issue, all you have is Dart to tie it in with Savage Dragon, and really, they could use some of those other characters to help pull us into the story.
You're 100% right, dude. You're 100% right. Plus, having them show up from where Barbaric smashed the panel, not only just makes it cool to see them again, but it pays off for long-time readers on something else. And I want to say that this issue automatically starts out funnier. The line where Killcat says he has to fucking shave 10 times a day, is hilarious. That's so. Or the fact that he's so dismissive. He's so so you came back to the wrong time. Get over it. And it's like, that's funny, dude. He's just super shitty to kid.
So does that mean if he stops shaving, he'll become like a werecat? Is that it's kind of the implication?
It's kind of what it seems like.
He's just super hairy.
Like he would turn into the shrew?
I don't know.
I have another art gripe. Do you see the weird thing where Killcat, when he's turned to the side, instead of the eye being like a goggle, like a smooth goggle,
right?
It's drawn like his brow.
What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. So it's on the 4th page.
Yeah, there's a page where he's telling Kid, he's like, "Oh, Kid's going, gets hopeless in the middle panel," and he's like, not even close. On that panel, where the same one where Kid guess Clint Eastwood was the president, like the way that fucking the artist chose to sometimes make the goggle be like his brow. I hate that.
Yeah.
What the fuck was he thinking? That's horrible.
It just looks like a big tumor in his eye.
Well, what he probably did was he probably drew like a generic head before he put the Killcat details in, and then he just kind of traced over where the brow ridge would be, and didn't go, maybe this should be flat.
He does it in all the panels there, like the top panel and
it's everywhere.
The middle panel.
It's all throughout the whole series, dude.
I had not noticed that.
God,
thanks for ruining it.
Oh, it's awful.
Hey, can we step back and talk about? So I mean, this cover's got Maul, but the way this was advertised,
Maul.
We're gonna have Pit.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah. So issue 2 of Deadly Duo in Advanced Comics, which is like the previews catalog.
Yeah.
Announced Pit as the team up.
The team up.
And so this was a last-minute switch. And if you read issue 3 of the Deadly Duo, Eric actually printed like the cease and desist letter from Dale Keown's lawyer, not to use Pitt.
Dude, it's so funny. It's like the shittiest thing.
Eric just shits on Dale. It's fucking hilarious.
Here's the thing: is that like Dale Keown did just sort of like. I remember Rob Liefeld talking about this. And he said that, like, yeah, dude, like, all of a sudden, just Dale Keown was, like, fucking out. And he was just having his lawyer serve up everybody, like, cease and desists. And
so Eric says, I'll read this real quick for, like, the listeners who might not have the comic in front of them, but just one little paragraph out of the letters page from issue 3 where Eric reprinted the cease and desist letter. He says, as far as Pitt went, at the 11th hour, Dale decided not to let me use the guy, despite having previously given me permission to use him in a comic. He thought that with all his guest appearances in other Image books, that Pitt was in danger of being overexposed like Punisher or Wolverine over at Marvel. Considering that Dale has drawn a measly 7 issues featuring the character over the last 2 years, I thought it might be a good idea to remind people that the guy still exists. In any case, I told him I'd take the character out of the Deadly Duo, but he apparently thought it would be a good idea to have this little letter sent my way.
Oh, so he had already agreed to it, and he still got cease and desist.
It sounds like he said gave him permission to use him in a comic, but maybe Eric never said which comic he would show up in. I don't know.
Right.
Or maybe it was said like a year before, and then he felt like he was getting overexposed.
Right.
But the shitty thing is that, like, as we know, all of those Image comics in the beginning, like Todd McFarlane said, like they were selling like so much that kids were getting like $250,000 checks for a single issue.
Right.
And Pitt was fucking hot.
Yeah.
So there's no way in fuck Dale Keown didn't make a shit ton on Pitt. And then to turn around and then just lawyer up instead of just talking to the like guys, like how crazy, dude!
Eric's crazy though, just posting that letter.
Sue the hand that feeds you. Yes,
that's what it was. I will say, I'm sorry, but I'm immediately gonna praise like and appreciate the kid not knowing how to fucking shit because food in the future is so efficient.
That was a good gag. I like that.
Dude, that's hilarious. See, now that's what I expected. That is funny, dude.
Dude, this is the worst drawing of the Fonzie.
Yes! Horrible. I was trying to figure out who to compare him to, and there's not a celebrity that he looks like.
He looks like Senator Ted Cruz.
I like how it's implied that everyone has a time machine in their home. They just don't use them.
Or I like the female Kid Avenger suit, like in the background.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
There you go, Jim. There's one more babe for you. That's 2.
That's 2, and there's a 3rd in this issue as well.
A lot of top. Yeah, this double page spread is really something. You know, just. Oof.
Which one?
The
are you
more you look
about?
at it, the more you look at it, the more you see.
With the Annihilators pop up.
Yeah.
There's always some scientists tinkering with space-time travel and warping and stuff like that. I feel like this happens multiple times in the Savage universe.
It does kind of make you wonder, like, they weren't talking about the Void because these guys were talking about an infinite energy source. Right. And then when the Annihilators show up, the Annihilators themselves describe it as limbo. Yeah. So this is clearly yet another like alternate reality that we've just not really touched upon.
So you don't think they were in like Dimension X or anything? They were in like a different void?
Kind of seems like it, right?
I think you could retcon it or something. I don't know. I mean, they don't know what Dimension X looks like, so anyone could call it.
I thought. Well, I was
Limbo.
surprised. I was surprised they even mentioned the fact that they had experienced limbo. For some reason, I thought they had just teleported away. Barbaric had smashed the controls, and like no time for them had passed. Like they had been like
But
apparently,
I don't know.
Apparently they experienced being in a limbo of some kind.
It's the worst Cyberface I've ever seen. He looks horrible.
Wait. Cyberface.
Isn't it?
Which one are you talking about?
Behind Bloop?
Is that Cyberface?
No
Wow,
way.
it can't be. I mean, but he also has aspects of Cyberface.
No,
Oh
dude.
no, that can't be Cyberface. Hold on.
Jim, you take back everything you said about this art being good.
Let me just verify that fact real quick.
All right, while you're doing that, I'll buy you some time. The sequence of a kid gorging on fast food. And
No,
then
I guess it's
sudden-
not him.
He
Anyway,
gets his
sorry.
first feeling of pooping.
He gets the runs. That's what happens when you eat that much oil that quickly.
So good, dude. Yow, stuff is coming out of me. It's good. I'm sorry. That works for me. So wait a minute. Did you confirm that's not Cyberface?
No. I'm
No.
still working on it. I'm looking at his wiki Dragon Wiki entry, and I do not see this issue referenced as an appearance. So I think it's just some dude who looks like him.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and verify who it is somehow.
I'm looking at the wiki on Deadly Duo 2, and it doesn't even look like it has all the guys on there. So,
I'm looking at the Annihilators list here. Who might this be?
well, the Annihilators were Cyberface's gang that split up from
You're right.
the Vicious Circle.
You're right. They are.
Yeah. That was the whole thing, is the Annihilators were trying to take over the Vicious Circle. Dude, that reread.
I
has
just
been
can't remember
worse.
if he was with the group when they got
Oh, is that big guy Warhawk, the one with the
the hair.
Yeah.
I just can't remember if Cyberface was with them when they got sent away, but he is the leader of the Annihilators because they're the Splinter VC group,
Mm-hmm.
Flatline.
which is all tied in with gang war.
I don't see anyone else as a member of the Annihilators that could be except for Cyberface. But I also don't remember Cyberface being one of the ones teleported away, because I thought there was like a whole plot line with him going on. But maybe
Yeah, I thought he lost his gang. Like that was a big hit for them.
Yeah, I don't remember. But
But
you
at any
know what?
rate, like
You
some
know what?
kid, like,
I do think now it's supposed to be Cyberface, but whether or not he's supposed to be here, that's the real question.
well, like you noticed, like later on in the issue, he never like reappears. So again, it could be a total like art fuck up.
He might have got a list of Annihilators.
That would never
and just-
happen, would it?
I'm betting it would. Just thinking it would. Yeah, man, it's wild. And also, I will say, poor Maul, as cool as he is, and I do think he's cool. It's weird to just see him on his own.
Yeah, he's just here. He's not. He doesn't do a damn thing.
Pitt would have made more sense because Pitt's a loner.
Right.
But
And I think that's the problem. Is it?
Can't a guy just grab a bite to eat?
he just wanted some big buns.
Yeah, big buns.
I'm trying to think who would have been a better choice. Badrock probably would have been a better choice. He's a guy who might go out on his own.
We
Being
already did
Detroit.
Bad Rock, though.
Or what about the Max? Does he exist yet?
He exists, but again, it'd be weird to see him thinking he could go toe-to-toe with the Annihilators, because the Max is kind of not that high a level of ass kicker.
Too early to be Zeke. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Maul's a good go-to, but it's just weird to see a guy from a team book running around on his own.
Right.
And like Craig said, he doesn't do anything.
Right. He does nothing.
He
All
fucking
he does,
shows up, swings his arm around a time or two, and then just sort of leaves. I don't think. What's he say? Does he say "huh"? Huh is the only thing he says.
and like
He says "huh" and "nah."
he doesn't even like use his powers. Like his power is the madder he gets, the bigger he gets, and that never even comes up.
Yeah. It's
Although
rough.
it is funny when Kid Avenger gets the door smacked in his face, and he makes the big speech about they can walk all over me, they are mistaken, and then he says, "I'm leaving," because he does not recognize the fact that supervillains are attacking the restaurant.
Yeah, he just thinks that's how people look in the 90s. That was a good gag, I thought. It's funny to see Kid like marveling at things like bicycles.
Well, use them to.
All right, so I think it's definitely a fuck up because I went back to look at issue 6, and
he's not there.
The Annihilators are with Cyberface, but then they all run to that teleportation room. Barbaric smashes the device, but after he smashes it and the guys are gone, Mighty Man comes in grabbing Cyberface by the back of the neck, being like, "You might want to talk to this one," and that's how they like get him in the cell to try to get info on Overlord. Remember?
Right.
And so, but when you look at him, he's got the same belt, the same like arms, different shoulder pads. So he's definitely a fuck up by this artist.
What a surprise!
I'll be honest. I didn't even know Dung was one of the ones who got teleported either, or Logo for that matter. What issue did you say that was? 6?
Issue 6.
Just got to refresh my memory on that. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Right. It really doesn't.
Yeah, let's not glaze over the fact that a creepy old guy tries to invite
keeps showing up. This
to an orgy, basically, which is relevant in the 3rd issue, but it's just funny and weird.
So this whole thing with Kill Cat having an empire and stuff, of course, that's all Batman. Yeah. You get the impression, although it's never outright stated, that Kill Cat's kind of a shitty boss, or he's a shitty CEO.
Oh yeah.
You got to wonder if he's like 2 days away from losing his company or some shit.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean,
or he's not as rich as he thinks he is.
Well, shitty Bruce Wayne is perfect. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly. I 100% get the idea that he's about to lose his company. I mean, for God's sake, his secretary is named Lotta Top, and he's hoping to have a relationship with her when she can confess her feelings. It's like, yeah, he's a bad boss. he's a very bad boss. As we close out, too, I just want to say, I think we've confirmed this, but the Art of Eric Larson book solicited here. Never came out, right?
No.
Okay, bummer. Would have been cool.
Oh, that's right.
I think that was used as a pinup, that cover, eventually.
That's the what's supposed to be a dragon tattoo, but looked just like a shrunk dragon instead. I've never cared for this pinup because I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a tattoo, but I've always read it as Tiny Dragon.
I read it as Tiny Dragon also.
Really?
Yes. Is that supposed to be a tattoo?
Yeah. It's the Art of Eric Larson. Like she got a tattoo of Savage Dragon on her.
I gotta be a critic.
Why would it be then? Tiny Dragon?
I know. Well, that's what I was saying. Is it didn't make sense. I was looking at that and I was like, "Huh? Why is Dragon tiny on that giant boob?" Oh well. You know, look, it's a straight.
It really doesn't come out right because it doesn't.
All I can say is I'm glad I'm not the only one.
There's no perspective on him, and if he was on a boob, if he was a boob tattoo, he would be more like tilted away.
Curved,
I wish we actually gave these episodes titles.
Boob tattoo?
I don't know, Tiny Dragon or something like it just.
Tiny Dragon boob tattoo.
Speaking of ads, here's that Angela series that launched 1,000 lawsuits.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great little time capsule, isn't it? Like these ads, even the first issue.
Award-winning Neil Gaiman featuring Greg Capullo art. If only Todd had known.
Some of the articles in the first issue, advertisements in the first issue are pretty cool too. Like the original Spawn figures, so like the Violator is basically one of those like bendy type figures, those little like wire bendy guys.
It's the funniest fucking thing. It's just so funny. That bendy Violator is the funniest fucking visual. And I get it. What's funny is with his design, that actually is a really good choice.
Yeah,
but it's like it's so funny.
It
I
is
associate
compared
that
to
with
like
cheap
what they turned
Easter
into.
rabbits. Yeah.
I associate it with wrestling figures because they had those rubber bendy ones.
Yep.
Remember like the WWF wrestling figures that like
Yeah.
you played with them once and all their paint rubbed off and it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know the very ones you mean.
It was horrible. I loved them, but then it was like I didn't want to play with them because I just ruined all the paint would just come off within like playing with it once. This is the worst design.
Deadly Duo 3. Let me ask you guys, what do you think of that logo?
What, the logo? I like the Deadly Duo logo.
Is it serviceable?
Yeah, it's serviceable.
Serviceable.
I mean, the fact that it's bullet ridden is kind of odd because you don't really.
That's
think
very
of-
odd.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna go ahead and say
It's
I
like,
think
what
it's
is this, a
lazy.
mob comic? What?
Yeah, it's lazy. It could be better. You look how good the Freak Force logo looks.
Right.
Yeah.
Look how good. It's like a three-dimensional, like there's form and structure. It's like coming at you. It seems like an evolution of Savage Dragon's three-dimensional kind of logo. And then you look at the Deadly Duo logo, and it's a font with drop shadows and some bullet holes,
Some
which again,
Swiss cheese.
bullets don't make no sense in this context. They're not gun-toting vigilantes.
I do think the Deadly Duo also suffer a similar fate to Free Force, that their name isn't very flashy. It's not a very striking name.
Freak Force is pretty good.
Freak Force is pretty good.
I don't like any Force names. I think they're all kind of generic and bad, from X-Force
X-Force?
to awful. Hate it.
Cyber Force?
Definitely hate it. Force works. Awful. Bad.
I almost said Force Works, and you said
Isn't there an Atari Force?
Atari Force is cool. I don't know. I've always found Force to be a really, really, really generic super team word. I don't like it associated with anybody.
I forgot.
What would you say? All right. Well, hold on here.
What I would say is what would improve like the Deadly Duo like logo is if it was called like Kill Cat and Kid Avenger, the Deadly Duo, and had like a
That's
know.
a lot. That's a mouthful.
Yeah, you're right.
If you're going to just make it punchy and short, Freak Force, Deadly Duo, Savage Dragon, you got to have something quick. Deadly Duo, what's funny is I have no problem with Deadly Duo as a name for a group, but it is, I think, not very marketable.
Well,
Because it's like gruesome twosome. Like, you kind of can't, it's not real standout, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
well, it's a callback to the dynamic duo, of course.
Yes.
Well, I think he's just using the name they used as a kid, and he liked the idea of keeping it.
Yeah.
Like, Eric's very stickler about that, you know?
I agree, and I mean, and it's a great name, like in comic, like this is the Deadly Duo. They're here, blah 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 blah. I just don't know if it's a good title for a comic book.
Would
Or-
Kill Cat have sold better, you think? If it just said Kill Cat.
No, again, Kill Cat's a little generic on its own.
You think so? I like Kill Cat. I don't think that's something that someone's just going to come up with.
I think Kill Cat would have been better than Deadly Duo.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just put like I said, Kill Cat, Kid Avenger, those are the big words, and then have the Deadly Duo as like a tagline, something like
Underneath.
that. Yeah,
Like
underneath
small.
it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a professional. I'm sure this is a Chris Eliopoulos design. Probably.
Yeah, that's what's shocking. Is
Yeah,
that Chris
it's one of his weak
Eliopoulos
ones.
rocks.
Yeah.
And so what is up with this, like, I made it in 30 minutes logo?
Hey, one thing I wanted to mention that I forgot was at the end of issue 1 in the letters pages, Eric's like, as I write this, we decided to extend the Deadly Duo from 3 to 4 issues. Seems like everyone's having a good time working on it. And then issue 2, he's like, oh yeah, Andy Smith's got other commitments now. We're just back to 3. It's just like, I'm done.
Oh, best laid plans of mice and man, I swear, dude. It sucks.
So this opening bank robbery in issue 3 is kind of confusing because Kill Cat rolls in and he's fighting these guys who look like regular dudes, and they don't really like say or do anything. So you almost get the sense that Kill Cat's beating up the wrong people, like you would see in like a modern day Deadly Duo story.
Yeah.
But it turns out they're actually bank robbers. but it isn't very clear until later in the issue why they're robbing the bank. So again, I went through the whole issue going, why did Killcat beat these guys up?
He says it right in the panel, though. He's like, dude, you guys act like you're sleepwalking.
Right.
You're in a daze. You're out of it. You're in a deep hypnotic trance. So even he is kind of like, dude, what the fuck is up with these normal ass guys?
Which is why I kind of thought initially that he was beating up regular people, just going about their day.
I will say that one of these guys fucking blows the other guy's brains out.
Oh, that's
and
true.
That's shocking.
That
shocking.
Happen.
Yeah, it is. I missed that.
It's actually that is kind of violent for a lot of these early issues.
Shocking is all, you know. This ain't Savage Dragon. Like, it's been largely bloodless, like, just punching. But then, like, here's this guy just fucking getting his brains blown out.
We get a nice close up on a loafer.
yeah, it's very rendered.
Of course,
I like the money bags.
The other big
cartoon.
Yeah. The other big thing about this issue is you get the extended Killcat origin story.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is classic Killcat. This is Killcat telling a story about how his parents were murdered by their trusted bodyguard and companion. Yeah. Only the whole time, there's never any evidence that's true, except for Killcat's gut feeling. And Kid Avenger is the guy who calls him out on it.
Dude, this issue is great. There's a lot of good things in this issue.
I can definitely see how you said that by issue 3 they had found the voice of the Deadly Duo.
Right. Oh, absolutely, dude. Like kind of like the way that like Kid and Lotta immediately hit it off.
Right,
like, immediately.
And Kid Cat's like oblivious kind of to it at first, like just thinking she'll come around and like she'll be into him.
By the way, can I just say that reading this for the first time this evening made that gag many issues later, almost 8 years later, where Killcat walks in and he's like, oh, he's like my child, he's like my kid's sidekick in bed with my secretary in my grandma's, under my grandma's knitted quilt, and I was just like, for many years I was like, are we supposed to just know that Killcat has a secretary? Here she is, dude.
Yeah, of course.
It's cool. It's kind of cool to have that gag like expanded on, dude. I had no idea.
Also, there's some kind of Aquaman plot going on.
Yeah,
there's Roman. Now, is he somebody that we've ever seen?
No, he's just Namor backwards. He's just Namor.
Oh, he's Namor with the words switched. Oh my gosh!
I did not catch that myself. I was confused that these random thugs on the street recognized him immediately.
Yeah.
And 2, they actually knew something about what had happened to the people he was looking for, which implies a lot of things, like the fact that this Roman guy is well known, he's recognizable on sight. And also that these guys are clued in enough to know that what the criminal element of New York City is doing.
Yep. Hey, here's a time capsule. How do you like the Twin Towers just under his shoulder?
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Also, Roman's weird because he's an undersea guy, and we already... Well, I guess Atlantean hasn't been introduced yet, so it's funny that we've got 2 water guys, and except Roman never comes back.
Well, that's what's so funny is that Impervious Rex shows up later, who's very much Namor.
Right.
And there's a design that Eric has for Atlanteans later on that is nothing like these female Atlanteans.
Nope.
So it's very funny and out of place.
In fact, I'm on the Savage Dragon wiki, and I Googled Roman, and he doesn't seem to have an entry.
Oh, Gavin, take that. Not so smart now, are you, Higginbottom? The death trap that kills Killcat's parents is pretty wild, huh? Even though it's just silhouette. It's like fucking they just are killed with spikes.
Got him.
It's a hard way to go.
Did you say got him?
Yeah.
Got him.
Got him.
Oh, that's good shit.
Guess they shouldn't have been poaching.
Goddamn Alan set him up.
I mean, look at him. Look at Alan. You know he did it.
That's what Killcat says, right? He's like, he's too handsome.
Just doesn't like him.
Trust him.
I never did like him. Well, the creepy old man invites him to the orgy, Killcat to the orgy. I guess he goes because he's sad because of Lotta. And, hey, here's some familiar faces. Maneater and Croc here.
Well, reverse
Gator.
familiar. We haven't met them before, right?
Are they new?
We saw them in the pinup for the miniseries.
Right. The first time we saw them was in that pinup where that was implied they were hero characters.
Yeah.
I guess they got reworked. It so like I think Glowbug's in that picture too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they got.
I remember thinking that like Maneater is a cool visual.
Yeah. Gator and Maneater, and then they only really show up in the Savage world, right? And then they show up again more recently, I feel like, right?
It's so funny. I just read that issue where they're on the chain gang.
Right.
They're on the chain. Ironically, they're on the chain gang down in Atlantis. So it's like in the Savage world, they're criminals instead of like here, they're like sex peddlers of Atlanteans.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny the connection there. 8 years later, like that's nuts.
I guess.
Oh yeah, they only ever appear in 81. That's it.
Yeah. Here are some Andy Smith babes. I guess he was saving them all for issue 3.
Yep.
Not impressed.
Oof, I'm not. If you're a student of Bart Sears, Bart did a little sexier than this.
So, again, there's kind of, I don't know, they kind of walk into this plot, I guess. Mm-hmm. There's kind of like no reason for it, to be honest, other than Killcat just kind of gets invited to this sex party thing as a way to get him, I guess, to get him addicted to sex with Atlanteans so that he'll do whatever he's told, because that's how that works.
I don't even know. I mean, I guess they're just. I don't know.
I think
specifically.
I think they were targeting him because he was a rich guy, and you get him hooked, and then you can just take him for all his money,
and make him do whatever you want.
Yeah, basically, he'll be an addict, and that'll be that. I mean, I get the sense that the old guy may already be addicted, and that his whole goal is to pull him in on this scam.
Oh, he is already addicted because we see it towards the end. When he's jumping in the tank.
Can I just say this scene where Killcat's fleeing while pulling open his suit to reveal the costume beneath, and then you see his he's just barely around a corner, but again there's no depth.
Right.
So it's just a brick wall pattern splitting down the middle of the panel, and then the very next panel is a Killcat fist punching Gator.
Right.
And I'm just like, dude, that is where perhaps a better artist would have shown him getting some distance between them.
Well, here's the funny thing. He's running, right, the way the panel is, and then the next panel there's a building or something, but they're running with the water to his right, so that doesn't make sense either. Yeah.
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. Everyone's floating in space and nothing connects and makes sense.
But when you say, then he changes super fast, well, I guess...
Oh, it's implied he wears his costume under his clothing, which makes no sense because he's covered in spikes and shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the gauntlets? Where are the gauntlets? Up his ass? What's going on?
Don't overthink it, guys. It's comic books.
I don't like it. Eric wouldn't have done it. And yet somehow...
Why run away if Gator's watching you the whole time?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you get the idea that the implied action is that he gets ahead, gets out of sight, changes costume quickly,
right.
But none of that's conveyed in the comic.
The better thing would be
that's a stretch.
Him running into an alley, and then Gator gets there and nobody's there, and then he jumps down as Killcat or something.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or he comes around the corner and Killcat's in silhouette, pulling a Batman moment, where he's looking for someone, punk, or something like that, Oh, jeez. I'm just... Jim, that's why I'm beating up this artist, dude. This is bad sequential art.
I hear what you're saying.
The art has lowered the story.
But it is serviceable.
How about the panel when Gator and Killcat are fighting and there's just all the sound effect, all that... It's why is that necessary? It doesn't even look like they're it looks like he's throwing one punch. You know, it would better be served if there was like more action going. Like I just don't understand it.
Oh, you mean the panel where it's all the sound effects all happening at once?
All happening at once in one small panel.
Well, you see,
and I guess this was to indicate that they're just fighting for a while.
Yeah.
Rop, plow, smack, bathroom, blood, wump, whup, plud. And it's like Craig said, they're throwing a punch and they're both missing each other.
See, if this was written today, Roman would have had a hole in his chest from getting blasted by Kid Avenger, which is what I thought was going to happen. But I guess instead it bounces off and breaks the tank.
Yeah.
I love Roman's eyes in that.
I also like that apparently Maneater has mind control powers.
Yes.
Yeah, he does.
But is getting the marks hooked on the fucking fish pussy to make them do what. Instead of using her mind control powers, she's fucking getting them hooked on the fucking fish hoo-hoo so that they do what she says. It's just fucking wild.
I think, I would say it would be implied that her powers are temporary or they take a lot of concentration, and the addiction to the fish ladies is more permanent.
I'm just saying, if you got a rich guy in your grasp, you can be like, hey, withdraw all your money and put it in a black bag.
No, you got to tell him to go to the bank and rob it. That's what you got to do.
At any rate, does she die? She sure gets stabbed in the throat.
No,
he says that she'll die if she's not cared for. So I guess it's implied.
That's right. She'll die if she's not cared for.
Although it wouldn't have mattered because she doesn't appear again until the Savage World, so it's a whole
which
different
is another dimension.
Reality, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So,
you're right.
There's
there's the old man jumping in the tank.
So is it weird to anybody else that this issue ends on a right page? No,
I don't know. It's not that weird.
No, it
It's
is
not like it's
weird.
anything.
It is weird. Huh. Yeah, it should be one more page.
This happened in a couple issues of Savage Dragon as well, where things ended on a right page, where you'd expect there'd be another one.
I agree. I like this ending, but you're right. I thought there would be another page there. You know what threw me? That Del Keown fucking cease and desist. I didn't even think about it. And then sarcastically, Eric put, "It's been pleasure doing business with you," underneath it. Oh, it's so good, dude. It's so good.
So that's the Deadly Duo.
Hold on, Jim.
What's up?
Do you see the pictures that Aaron did of the Deadly Duo?
I do. I see them now, yes.
Are they not fantastic?
Sure.
Look at Kid Avenger, dude. He looks like a primitive.
Well, shoulders are hard, and I know from experience.
Mom said it's my turn to play the Xbox.
We got some good ads in this, which means we're probably gonna have Blood and Guts coming up soon, right?
Yeah,
Since
I got
in this.
I got to check when that comes out. And figure out where it fits.
Jason Pearson was great back then. Still a good great artist, but that was probably the best art on a Savage Dragon miniseries for my money.
Totally, I can totally see that. Considering what we
nails the fin, nails the look of dragon pretty good.
So I'm just gonna say this. I'm just gonna say. By the way, this Mark Texiera, fucking Shadowhawk Vampirilla ad.
Yep.
Ay, Chihuahua.
In what regard? What direction does that statement go?
It's great.
Vampirilla.
Oh,
I love it. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, Texiera fucking rocks, dude.
Yeah, he's great. And the painted covers look great, too.
Yeah, and this is incredible. So I loved it. I'm just going to say this. All right, so listen. For a long time, my journey through Savage Dragon was I'm a main book only man, right? And then, so I get to the end of my collecting journey, and of course I'm hungry for more. And so I'm like, oh man, I'm going to go. I said I was a main book only man, but here I am. I'm going to go read these spinoffs. And so I start getting the spinoffs. And for you guys, for the retro, I start reading spinoffs and things. So I'm exposed to these things. I was wondered. I mean, when, I was always like, man, Savage Dragon's so fucking good. And I had read the Dave Johnson Super Patriot spinoff. And so I was just like, man, Savage Dragon's so good. And that Super Patriot spinoff is so good. I wonder why there were just never more success for those other spinoffs. It seems like there would be. It's because of things like Deadly Duo.
Yeah.
That was, unfortunately, serviceable.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I'm surprised at your reaction. I thought you were going to like this.
I love exactly how I said. I love issue 3 entirely from beginning to end. It's beautiful. Not beautiful, the art's shitty, but it's fantastic. Issue 3 is the Deadly Duo as we know them. Issue 2, I would say I originally had said 50-50. Now I'm going to say it's 75% awesome. Taken down by, of course, the art and some story weirdness, right? Maul being there, not really saying much or doing anything, which I guess can't be helped, but whatever. But like issue 1 is just not quite there. It's just weird, and I think there's a reason why this kind of like maybe didn't like set the world on fire, is because that's not a good first issue 1.
Also, 3 issues is an odd number for a miniseries. I'm not going to lie.
It is. It absolutely is.
And there's some upcoming other Dragon miniseries like Blood and Guts that are only 3 issues long.
It's not like this had any, continuous story. Each issue was a standalone issue.
Right,
so it was just like, we'll see how these. I think it was just let's see how it goes and let's see how these do. And we'll make more if it does okay. But there was no story to tie it all.
A story would have done better. I think if there was some hijinks that it culminated in, like if by issue 3, if in issue 1 there was something set up, and then by issue 3 it paid off, and it's the Deadly Duo, guys. It doesn't have to be something like fucking huge or whatever. But I'm just saying, if by issue 3 there had been some sort of a bow on top of this present, it would have gone over a lot better. Because I think just as the comic found its feet, it ended. And so it's kind of like, well, darn, I could have, it's starting to get there. Like, I could have done for another 2 more issues. But,
For my money, Deadly Duo works best as like a 3 or 4 page backup. I just short and sweet, funny little gag things. I don't know about a whole story because they're just so silly, and that's how they are. They're best at like just poking fun at superheroes, but I don't know if I need a whole 3-issue series of it.
I will say this. I think Eric is good enough to do a full 3 issues of comedy, a full 3 issues of Deadly Duo. I think Eric's definitely good enough to do it. I just think that he's got to have the right, like, kind of... If he's not going to do the art himself, I think he's got to have the right kind of partner. And I also think that it can't be 3 standalone issues. I think it's got to kind of like be a cohesive tale. Otherwise, like you said, it could just be backups.
Yeah, and I got bad news for you on Volume 2, although it is 4 issues.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
It does
Jim?
get funnier. It's just the art I can't handle on that series, unfortunately.
Jim, you seem to love it, man. Let's hear you say.
Have I ever said those words?
Serviceable.
Serviceable.
I'm sorry, dude.
Serviceable is neither excellent nor mediocre. Serviceable is serviceable.
Oh, that's bland. All right, well, thank you, dear listeners, for listening.
I guess that's the main difference between you and I. If something is bland, it's a negative for you.
I think the worst thing you can do is to be just neutral. I think if you're bad, you can at least in some way be memorable. Like that pinup that you guys, that Cleary pinup, dragon standing on the heap of bullets.
Right.
It's not good, but it's memorable.
No.
It's memorable. You never will forget that ugly thing when you're fucking done seeing it. And that's better than to just be like 3 issues of Brutes and Babes art with like backgrounds missing and sequential art problems, and it's just kind of like This was bad in the wrong ways, is all.
I will give Eric credit. Like, when you look at his output in his comics, they're all hits. They're, some misses, but he's doing different things.
We will get to the misses. I'm sure you of that.
But
This is not the lowest low.
No, I wouldn't say that either.
You have to admit he's doing different things, right? He's doing kind of like a comedy book. Who else is really doing a superhero comedy type book?
At this time, a lot, actually.
Well, I mean, the Image guys, like, out
an
there.
Image. Probably none. I don't think there's a comedy
Maybe
book.
Blood Wolf or whatever that was.
Wait,
You're right. Blood Wolf would have been the only other one.
No, Trencher's a comedy. Trencher's a comedy.
Yeah, that's true.
Jeez, is it? I read it finally, and that's fucking debatable.
I'm just saying he's got a lot of different, like all the Extreme books all look the same. All the team books look the same. All the Homage Studios books look the same. Like, Eric's putting out, like, he's going from Vanguard to Super Patriot to Deadly Duo to Savage Dragon to, even stuff that's, like, really bad, like Dart, but it looks completely visually different. It's like a different tone, but I don't know. It's just kind of cool that he's, like, throwing out all different styles and books that all fall in the same universe.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. And I will say that I don't think Eric was really the huge problem in this. While he did tonally have some weird moments where he was sort of figuring the guys out, that's to be expected. The characters were new. And he gets there fast. By the time issue 2 starts, I mean, he's pretty much got them dialed in. Like, just Killcat's shitty behavior, shaving 10 times a day, that's a toilet, stupid, you'll figure it out. Like, all that's funny stuff. I shouldn't be such an art guy, but I'm an art guy. And so it suffered greatly for me because I think if you give this exact same script, to, like, fucking Tom McWeeny, who was available at the time and was doing comedy stuff for Gen 13, maybe? I think. Yeah, I think he was doing comedy stuff for Gen 13. He would have slayed it. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man. Brutes and
It
babes.
is hard to judge art on these old books because they're so influenced by the style of the day,
Yeah.
that to go back now and be like, oh, that's so ugly. Well, that's what was selling. That's what people want. Like I say that John Cleary thing, like, I think it's horrendous. People love that because they wanted anyone that looked like a McFarlane clone. If they couldn't get McFarlane, they wanted someone that looked like him.
I just wouldn't have put a Bart Sears style guy on a comedy book.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It is a weird thing because he's so, like, straight on anatomy type, no cartooning really besides just the muscular form.
Yeah. Anatomy showcase is what you get when you get Bart Sears. And it's like, how funny can that really be? You need a Kevin McGuire guy to sell your comedy,
Don Simpson should have drawn the Deadly Duo.
Oh my God, yes. What the hell are we talking about? Don Simpson would have fucking made a Deadly Duo book. Here's the thing is, me and you've said it, Craig. Megaton Man wasn't the funniest. But there's undeniably funny looking visuals.
Well, and he's a master of drawing straight on. He could draw stuff that looks great, like typical superhero stuff, but then he can also cartoon the shit out of, like, comedy, funny looking guys,
Oh yeah, Don Simpson, Deadly Duo book. Holy fucking shit! Kickstart it like Dream Book. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, Craig! I wish you'd never fucking said that, dude. Now I want it.
Yeah.
Oh, I will never get it. I will
Nope.
never get it, and I won't.
Never.
You know what? Here's what we got to do. Guys like you, finheads like you, and Gavin, deep pocket idiots. We gotta get you to commission Don to do this one page at a time.
If you think I have deep pockets, man.
You got more art than me.
More art?
Yeah, don't you have, like, aren't you Gavin style where you got a little museum of original art?
Not at all. No, I have, like, maybe a few. Mark Englert, because I did his webpage for him. I have one Savage Dragon Superman page. I have like a Vanguard page, a bunch of Scott James pages,
Well, that's more.
and a bunch of Raven Perez pages.
I threw those. Those were going in the trash next. So it's
No,
those
I
don't
am.
count.
I am not. Not even close to Gavin level.
Well, it's done. Maybe he'd do it for some soup and sandwiches. I don't know.
Soup and sandwiches.
So get him on the soup and sandwich. We'll figure it out. I guess we should wrap this up.
We'll call this one Soup and Sandwich. I mean, we'll call this FINcast Retro episode, whatever.
You're right, dude. I would love to give this a zany name. We've named it. We've said so many things.
Serviceable.
Serviceable. Oh my god, dude, that's the name right there.
I think
We
this is
don't
the
name
part,
them.
the podcast where Jim gets really quiet and he's like, "Let's end this."
He's waiting for us to stop. Hey, listen, thank you for listening to the Savage FINcast Retro. As always, we appreciate you, dear listener. If you have any questions, feedback, any kind of, you want to get in touch with us, hit us up. That's savagefincast@gmail.com. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Jim, for going back in time.
Thank you,
with
thank
us
you.
on this. And we'll see you, or dear listener, next time.
Serviceable.
Serviceable.